magicians. Welcome to yet another Money Magic podcast. My guest today is Hlulani Rikhotso. If you are just joining us, my name is Vangile and I am the host of this podcast. I help mainly women of color heal ancestral money trauma so they can fall in love with their bank accounts, increase income, and live their best lives. So Hlulani is here today with us. She is one of my clients in the Money Magic course. So she's a Money Magic student. And I thought, let me interview her. You guys know that the reason why this podcast is called the Money Magic Podcast was originally the plan was to just interview Money Magic students for a while and then shut down the podcast. And then it started to grow. So it became a podcast, right? And now we're here and I try to interview at least once a month, one or two Money Magic students on the podcast, just to keep with tradition. So welcome, Hlulani. Thank you for saying yes to being interviewed.
Hi, Vangile. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I don't usually do this kind of things, but yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So Hlulani is not going to be on video if you guys are watching on YouTube, but I am on video if you are watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on any of our podcast platforms, then it doesn't really affect you. The audio is still really good. So Hlulani, just to get us started, please tell us, who are you as a soul and what do you do for a living?
Um, who am I? Well, I am a daughter, sister, and everything in between. What I do for a living, I work as an industrial engineering and as an industrial engineer currently in the financial sector. But then I also on the side, I'm trying to do something with related to career coaching or young adults coaching. So I'm kind of like sort of trying to do that right now with my life because yeah, I feel there is I like helping people. Let me put it that way. I like helping people, and then I feel like there's a gap, especially in my career with the young ones coming up. They don't know how to exactly build their career around that. So I've been sort of doing that on LinkedIn. I've been writing, trying to write once a week about career guidance. With now, it's still specifically towards my career choice. Yeah.
Mm, that's really, really awesome. So can you share a little about about what led you to become interested in financial work or ancestral money trauma, so to speak?
Okay. I think I was on Facebook and I was looking at a lot of things, and then I also sort of looked at my background. And then when you look at your background, you realize that there are things that are happening. People have access to money, or people are in a position to have money, but they don't really know what they have done about it. And it's not that they lacked the opportunities to make money. They have the opportunities, but somehow something just doesn't add up. It just gets to a point where maybe that person sort of are just surviving. And then when you look at the chances that they may have had, you're like, but why? Why couldn't they build further? What happened? So that was partly it. I think I saw your profile, and then initially I was like, nah, that's too hectic. So I think I ignored you for like 2 years. And then in 2019 I finally had the courage. So what I did when I saw your profile, I'm like, let me just start coaching at a lighter level. So I started going to other coaching, and I attended some other retreats, and then I was like, okay, maybe now I can handle this. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why did you think it was heavy? Why did you think it was too hectic and intense?
No, the thing is, I kind of like do get that feeling when I look at people that, you know what, if I'm going to do this, this is really the work. This needs the work. So I get that when I look at people sometimes, and I tend to trust my intuition. And it was actually right because it does get hectic.
Yeah, so anyone listening to this, people say my work is not for you if you're going to play around. It's we're doing healing work. I
Yes,
feel
it
like if you
definitely
were
is not.
connected.
No, trust me. Like when I saw your face the first time, like, nah, I probably will do this, but let me build a base first.
I'm glad. I'm glad. At least you're honest. And I think, I hear that from a lot of people. I hear that from a lot of people. And a lot of people also say, like you, that once they got into the course, they were glad that they built that base. So I get it. This is why I have the 7-day training. This is why I also encourage people to start with the bank account challenge. It's baby steps before you reach the money magic course. So, how would you explain the concept of money to an alien? What does money truly mean to you?
I think the more I grow or the more I see things, I think money is an energy. It is an exchange. It is a means to help you do things. So yeah, money is a medium of exchange. It helps you do things, but I don't know how to describe this. It's more like an energy because how much money you make or how much money you keep depends on how you feel about money. So you need to be in a relationship with money for you to be able to keep it or for you to be able to make it.
Mm-hmm. When did you first realize that your financial situation wasn't just about numbers and budgeting? Um, was there a specific moment that led you to explore your money story deeper? Why is it that like the post started to capture you on Facebook?
So sorry. So in 2016, I kind of like had I don't know, I don't want to say a vision, but I kind of like saw something, right? And I knew that certain things were going to happen in my life, but I wasn't sure how. So in 2017, I moved to Johannesburg, and I had seen myself flourishing in Johannesburg. And then I can't remember when I came across your profile. Maybe it was 2018, but then I didn't. But then in 2018, that's when I got the idea that let me build a base for myself, right, to attend other questions before I joined yours. And then I joined in 2019. And then because your bank account, you start saying, where do you spend your money on? What do you do with your money? But then I sort of had like this fear that I didn't know because, like I'm saying, I knew something was going to happen. And then I got retrenched in 2020. So basically, maybe that's what was going to happen. And then, like right now, and then I don't have money. What must I do? But fortunately enough, I was already in this work because what I had seen, especially in my past or in my lineage, is that when people fall, they don't know then how to get up. Right, they were right up and then they fall and then they don't know how to get up. So I didn't want that to happen to me. I needed to know how to get up and rebuild my life.
Wow, that's very, very beautiful. I love that because I think a lot of us have experienced that where like we fall, but we don't have the resources to get up. And like we fall and end up falling for years. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
a big, big thing. So looking back, what do you wish you had known before you started your journey to transform your relationship with money?
Maybe I wish I had known before 2016 about energy and about trauma and about yeah, and about all that, because like I'm saying, it's from 2016 I had this feeling that something was going to happen. But maybe had I been in the work, I would have then started working on my energy then, and it might have had a different outcome.
Mm, okay, I understand you. So what were how is your understanding? You keep talking about like you wish you had known about trauma and energy. How is your understanding of trauma, especially ancestral trauma, evolved since starting the work, in particular starting the Money Magic course?
So I have come to understand that we are part of a lineage, we are part of the genes that we come from, and that whatever that has happened in the past or is currently happening within your family, it's most likely to happen with you. And if you do not have any other means of working through it, you are most likely to end up where the rest have ended up. So it is a build up of the things, because that's the safest thing that you know. So sort of in a traumatic situation, you have a safety, and in that safety it's where you will always fall back, because that's what you know, that's what unconsciously you have seen being practiced, whether you want to admit it or not. It's been practiced, and we have seen that people are safe in that. So it's very easy for you to just say, okay, if I become like everybody, I am safe. And then you don't try to find ways to deal with your trauma or to heal with your trauma, because in the trauma, we all think we are okay, we all think we are safe, we all think that if we do not try to come out of it, nothing bad will happen more than the bad that has happened.
That's a beautiful way of describing it, actually. I agree. Like, I feel like that's a succinct way of describing how trauma plays out in our relationships. And how do you now understand trauma, especially ancestral trauma, in relation to your finances and financial decisions you were making?
So I understand that it is in a way there to keep you safe, or in a way there to keep you in some spot. I usually have that feeling that in my lineage, somebody thought money was evil. You mustn't have too much of it. You know, you must keep at a certain level so that you can remain humble, right? Not having money keeps you humble. However, we need money to live, and we need money to actually go on with life or achieve greater things. And the thing is, in my lineage, one thing that we're good at, we can all sell. But so far, nobody has sold beyond a big business, you know. So we have the skills, but because there is some sort of I wouldn't want to call it trap, but there's some sort of trauma of going beyond. Because if you go beyond, you may lose love, you may become greedy, you may stop being humble. There is that, and we just somehow get to a level where we are like, okay, this is a safe level, we stop. But then, however, at that safe level, you also then start regressing. So yeah, so this is why I sort of came into this work, because I'm like, I can see that, you can see that, okay, last year I broke through and I got that, but then somehow the next year you return yourself to the safety level without you being conscious of it.
Yeah, what you're saying about that ancestral thing around money being evil or some of that, one of the things that has been coming up for me as I've been doing the God wound recently is like, God will punish you, you know, that somehow you'll be punished by the divine. But I think it's also deeper than that. If I think about it, it's also that the tribe will punish you because you'll be different from the tribe. So working so hard to remain the same as the tribe, to not rock the boat. So yes, definitely. So can you describe how your emotional relationship with money was before you started the course? What were your savings habits, investments, income, all of that?
Okay, so I always saved in a 32-day account, but somehow I always depleted. Yeah, so it's that thing of, okay, I'll save in January, and then you blow it out all in December, which then returns you back to square one, right? Because that's your safety, that's your place, that's what you know. But then since joining the course and going through the bank account and actually seeing where you spend your money and how you spend your money, and then listening to your emotions, I've opened a different savings account. I've also opened what's that thing? I have a Satrix tax-free account, and I also have easy equities where I'm buying a few shares. And then those accounts I haven't drained, because now I have an understanding that you can make investments and you don't have to drain all your money at the end of each and every year.
I really, really love that. Um, I love that you've started the Satrix account, but you missed out the most awesome part. You told me a really, really awesome story about how you started a whole new job when we met up in December. Can you please tell us about that journey and how you use the course to do that? That's the juicy stuff, Hlulani. Don't hold back on us.
Okay, so for that we'll have to go back to 2020 when all went haywire, right? And then
Yeah.
when all went haywire, you teamed up with your sister Honey, and then
Yes.
you guys were doing a lot of homework, right? So
Mm.
basically, because I was retrenched, not working, I had all the time to do all that homework. And then I could be present for all those hours when we were doing the work. And then Honey also had the 3 day clearing into consciousness. She also had that, and I also did that. And then she also had pivoting into papers or something like that, which I also took on, right? Because it
Oh.
so in that year when all was lost, I decided to invest all that time in working through things. The clearing into consciousness actually helped me through my grief. And then when you came back, did you come back in 2021?
Yes, I did for a little
Yes.
bit.
Yes, and then you had the retreat in Pumalang, right?
Yes.
So funny enough is when I thought I didn't have money, I was paying for all these things, and I'm like, I'm paying for the retreat, right? That was in November. 2021, and then I
Yeah.
paid for the retreat, and then we went to that retreat, and we came back, and then I was at a contract. I had gotten some contract somewhere in 2021, but it wasn't paying much. And then with that money, I came to the retreat. And then from the retreat, after that November, I applied for another job. And then I got called. And then I went to work at a warehouse in that job, which was like, yeah, it was. So I was at that job for like 20 15 months for 15 months. But I think because of all the work that I had done and all, when you're meeting people and people are doing different things, you start believing that I can
Mm.
actually come up above this, right? So
Yes.
because of all that, I believe that, okay, although I'm at the bottom now, it is possible to get out of it. So yes, so after the retreat, I went to work at the warehouse. And then after that, because I kept believing and I kept telling my siblings that I want to work at the financial sector. So we used to laugh about it, like, hey, you joke a lot, you just got a job. I'm like, no, it's fine. And then I applied. Well, I didn't apply. I'm lying. I didn't apply. A friend got called and they told her, hey, there's a job. She's like, nah, call Hlulani. Then they called me, interviewed me, and then I got the job. But it was all because inside I was fine. All the inner work had helped. All some of the limiting beliefs, they had gone away. I believed that money is good. I can have money. I can get back to a place better than where I was when I got retrenched, because that's basically where I am. And that happened in a span of 3 years. But I
Wow.
but I don't believe, if I didn't meet you and your sister and didn't go through all that in 2020, I don't believe I'll be here, because I wouldn't have been working through my trauma and my grief. And grief is low energy. So when you are grieving, you just want all sadness, all you don't get to have positive thoughts. So all that work, I believe, culminated to where I am today. And then sometimes I pause, I'm like, guys, I was retrenched in 2020. And everybody's like, doesn't make sense. I'm like, I know, because I have had 3 jobs since then. And they have been better and better. They've been getting better and better.
Yeah, so out of interest, it sounds like you got retrenched after joining the Money Magic course. I asked because so much crazy happens to some people when they join the course. And I don't want people to be freaked out because some people share like the amazing things that happen, but your amazing stuff just started to happened after you did the work. And I have like similar experiences with this work where I'll be like, here we go. And then it just gets, here's your stuff that you need to deal with, and then things just start to shift miraculously. Was that the case for you? Did you join the course and then the retrenchment happened, or did the retrenchment happen and then you joined the course?
So the retrenchment happened after, but then the thing with me is, and it's something that I think I don't pay enough attention to. So I'm usually sort of cautioned when things are going to happen, right? So when it happened, I knew that's why I joined the course a year earlier. So usually before things happen, I will get something that is going to caution the fall. So basically, me being in the course cushioned the fall, because had I not joined it a year earlier, I don't think I would have joined it after the retrenchment. But I was already in, and then retrenchment happened, and then you guys were just helping us work through these things. So I was like, okay, that's why then I had to join. So my life usually sort of works around things like that. Something will happen to caution me for hard falls.
Mm. I love what you're saying because karma, karma can be shortened, but it can't be completely circumvented. And you can be cushioned from the effects of karma. So it can be something in a past life from this lifetime, but if you're going to experience the loss of a job, you're going to experience it. But as you do the work, chances are you may experience it instead of like a whole 10 years, you experience it for a year, So karma is a very critical thing, but we don't really get to circumvent it. You just get to shorten it and you get to experience it in a different way. So it sounds to me like with your karma, you're being cushioned from experiencing the full impact. That's a really good karma still, because you're going through your karma, but you're being cushioned in the process. And some people don't have that luxury. So when you just said that, I have to say thank you, because I realize that I have the same kind of cushioning, that there are certain things that are karmic that I'm going to experience, but the cushioning is there. I don't get to experience it to the fullest hectic extent that I know it could go to. So that makes me a little grateful.
Yeah, no, I'm really grateful, because like when now I sit back and look at 2020, I'm like, some of those things were crazy. And people, like, they tell me now, they're like, we don't know how you kept believing. I'm like, I also don't know how, but like I said, I felt I had the tools to navigate it.
Mm, the Money Magic course is really an incredible resource, because I have found myself leaning fully into it. So when I keep talking about the God wound, that's because that's where I'm at the moment. It's showing me flames. I'm crying almost every day. I feel sad. But yeah, it's there. That's when I know that like I'm getting to the core, because I'm grieving fully and I'm very, very sad, spontaneously crying. Very, very good. Like that's the healing. So I get what you say about the tools. Um, Hlulani, have you noticed any changes in how you approach or discuss money in your relationships, be it at work, with friends, or within your family? So, how is that experience? Do you notice a shift within yourself since starting the course?
But okay, so the funny thing is with me, I mean, we are born from two families, right?
Mm,
My mother has never really shied away from discussing money.
mm,
She's always given us money to spend, well, she's always given us more than enough money, so that at the end of the month you could see your savings. She taught us that, but then the other side, the other half of the family doesn't really discuss money. So because you are part of these two, with myself, you get to be in a position of you don't know, can you keep money, can't you keep it? So I think for a long time I dwindled around that. Can I keep money, can't I keep it? But then with my siblings, it's an easy conversation. We can talk, we save, we discuss life covers, we discuss a whole lot of things. It's a normal conversation. And then at work it also becomes normal, because people earn better, so they can actually do a lot of things with their money. They can save, they can buy, and the discussion becomes easy. What has happened after 2020, I have been reluctant to meet some of the people that I knew I couldn't discuss money with before 2020, because I'm just like, I don't want to go back there. But then with the few friends that have kids and other stuff that I'm still close with, we do discuss money, we do discuss what they are planning with their kids, we do talk about the different things, because they need to plan ahead. So I'm kind of that person. So currently I'm keeping a circle that I'm freer with to talk about money. Yeah, let me put it that way.
I love that. I love keeping a circle that you're free to talk about money with. Have you, I believe hugely in the importance of a tribe. Have you noticed a difference in your life by leaning into that circle where you feel free to talk about money?
Yes, there's a difference, because when you have a tribe that talks about money, that is not afraid of money, you start believing in bigger things, because you sort of transition from survival mode. Your discussion is not about how much is bread. Your discussion about, oh, will I like to make a property investment, or am I buying more shares, or should I start giving my child money now so they can learn savings. So the conversation becomes different, and you start to expand your mind more where money is concerned, and you start to actually realize that there is more that you can do with money. And then sometimes you can even find yourself discussing other ways to make money, whether you are selling something, whether somebody is doing makeup, or whether somebody is being an errand runner for someone. But then you start discussing, then how can we make more money beside your current job?
Mm, mm. I really, really love that. So, what are some of the three lessons or meditations from the course that have profoundly impacted your current relationship with money? And walk us through some of these mindset shifts and insights.
Okay, the inner child, the healing of the mother wound, and healing of the father wound. I think I struggled more with that, because, to be honest with you, as a child, there is very little that I lacked, like
Mm,
in my circumstances. But because of the outside, there are things that I denied me. There was really no reason to. Now that I have gone through the work, I'm actually admit that, you know what, to be honest with myself, I was kind of privileged. Some of my privileges, I left them not out of my own choice, but I was a kid, so I don't know if, yeah, I made the choice based on what was surrounding me. So I struggled a lot with that, with the mother wound and the father wound. And then there was a part of me that at some point had stopped acknowledging, especially my mother, what she had done for me. Like I'm saying, my mother is good with money and all that, and she keeps great savings and all that, whereas the paternal side doesn't. So I think there's a part of me that sympathize more with my dad and his situation and
mm,
how things are. So like I said, I think I felt trapped a lot in that. But then when I started doing that, I've done those more times than the other ones, I think. And then I think it was 2021 or 2022, I actually got to sit down with my dad and said, you know what, actually 1, 2, 3 comes from your side, you know and and and
mm,
and those 1, 2, 3 were not the so good things. But since that conversation, I have just, when you feel like you're flourishing, when you feel like you have actually taken a load off yourself, because now I'm admitting the truth. I am admitting the truth. The truth was, maybe I've been more secured because of my mother's side. I haven't been bad with money because of my mother's teachings. So I just acknowledging the truth. So those have been my go-to because of that, me being trapped in saying, no, but as a child, I didn't have this. Well, that was not true. And then as okay, the God would I do the God would once in a while because I'm like, yeah, that one is hectic, you know. I just like, yeah. But then it helps you realize what is not truth and what is truth, because then you start looking at the situations as they are. For the first time, I finished one of the income challenges. I finished 2020's income challenge this year because those also really need you to go there your womb and that, so those also become hectic. But I feel like they have helped me, you know. They I see myself keeping my money more, you know, because you are like, it's the end of the month and I'm not worried, I have money, you know. I haven't checked even my bank balance, so things start to change and you're like, oh, okay, we are getting somewhere.
Wow, wow. I really, really love this. So, Hlulani, some people believe that if they just follow me, read my blogs, watch my videos, watch this podcast, they will eventually get to heal their trauma, and that this is similar to what I do in the Money Magic course. And the free meditations that I sometimes give out are similar. What would you say to those people who are sitting on the sidelines, not joining the course because they think this, all the value that I provide outside is that's what the course is probably going to be like?
When a person just follows you or read your books, they never get to the root cause, right? Because you are just, I'm just hearing you now, and then maybe next week on your video you'll talk about something else. So you never got to the root cause. It's like when you have a wound, right? And then you don't clean it up and you just bandage it. It's the
Yeah.
wound is not going to heal. It's going to start eating at its own, you know. It's inside it,
Mhm.
it may possibly rot, because with the cause there's actually maybe I'm sure the minimum meditation is like 7 days, and then it doesn't end there because when you think like, I'm done, and then it turns up a notch higher, that okay, after the inner child, now you have the motherhood, now you have the fatherhood. So you have like meditation for a whole 21 days. I think even science says the brain needs 21 days to actually start changing its thinking. So a person can follow you, they can learn. I mean, with your current book they can identify their money archetype, but for them to really get to the root cause, they really need to address their trauma. And I think one thing we're afraid of as people is addressing our trauma, because remember, it keeps us safe. It keeps us, it helps us sometimes lie to ourselves, like I was doing, like not wanting to acknowledge certain things. You know, the other day I just acknowledged, so I have so my jaws are not right, and everybody
Mhm.
keeps telling me to go to an orthodontist, and I'm like, then I remember that I could have had this done at 18 because my mother's medical aid would have paid. So getting them into the work helps you acknowledge certain things, because I could have lied to myself like, why haven't I done? No, like my mother did her best for me, and only now am I like, you know what, I could have had my jaws altered at 18. I'm the one that refused because I didn't want an operation. But it's through the work that helps me acknowledge what I've had and be honest with myself. Because at the surface, you keep lying to yourself. You keep saying, no, but I'm fine, but I turned out well. You know, we like saying we turned out well. Yeah. So yeah, so when somebody reads your book, they're like, there are worse people, I turned out well, you know. They can listen to your stories and say, okay, she was $60,000 in debt, no, I'm better than her, I turned out well, you know. That doesn't help you get down to your work.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like it's hard for me to tell people because the other thing is people will listen to me on live videos and then they'll say, yeah, I have this particular wound and this particular issue. This is what you mentioned. Basically, they analyze themselves from the videos. And I'm like, I don't even know some of the things that I carry until I start doing the work. No one can actually tell you. All I can do is deduce and say, this is usually the starting point. And then as you go there, we go deeper into other work, right? Just like how you said, we could start with the inner child and then we realize, wait, that's a father wound, that's a mother wound. And actually that mother wound is based on the vow of loyalty. And then maybe that even goes deeper than the vow of loyalty. It comes from a God wound. That's why I now have a vow of loyalty. So the root cause isn't even what we started off with. It's not even the inner child work. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. So Hlulani, my second last question is, the inner work we do in the Money Magic course is intense, as you've pointed out, right? And is extremely emotionally challenging. What strategies do you use to stay committed and sharp consistently to do the work? And I'm just interested, especially in 2020, did you have a particular strategy or schedule? I mean, yeah, I know that you were able to throw yourself fully in there because you had time, but did you have a particular strategy, especially because some people are retrenched and they just like, oh, I don't know what to do next, you know?
So I didn't have a particular strategy. One thing I knew I wasn't going to do was miss their lives. So one thing that I had in mind, do not miss their lives. So do not miss their lives. And for some reason, I think I was drawn more to the inner child,
Mhm.
because I kind of like felt this was more about me. Actually, so the inner child, the mother wound and the father wound, I did those because, like I'm saying, especially looking at my paternal background, I felt like that will be beneficial, and missing their lives was not an option. So it really does become difficult. So you decide that, okay, in the next 7 days, if the meditation is 7 days, I'm going to get committed. Another thing that helps is in the group, somebody will say, hey guys, let's commit, let's do this meditations, right? So sometimes I don't do the meditations that they have listed, but I'll do my own. But you know that in that 7 days or in that 21 days, there's actually somebody else also doing their meditations, which also helps you do your own work. So
Mhm.
I do take a break. Like I think this year I have taken a break after the income challenge. I was like, okay, I think I'm taking a break. So I think I haven't done for the past 3 months. I haven't done anything from the course because after the income challenge, I was like, okay, that was hectic. I need to recover. So I also take those breaks. I'm like, I need to recover. But then whenever I feel like, okay, maybe I have a situation, I will go look through and say, okay, maybe I'll do the vows of loyalty. So right now I feel like maybe a certain things have shifted. So the thing with healing is you will shift to a certain stage, and then when you get there, maybe when you think you are comfortable, there's something then rings like, okay, what has happened? So sometimes I do allow intuition to lead, like, okay, maybe you need to look deeper into this. So yeah, but yeah, missing their lives was not an option in 2020, and doing at least a meditation every month, because like I'm saying, I think at most you will do it for 21 days, so you'll kind of like have a week break, and then if you start another one, it might take 14 days or 21 days. So I also look at that. Yeah.
I love that. I love how you made it a point to do a live. When I used to do the Facebook group, I used to be live often, guys. So that was really, really fun. I'm still looking for an alternative platform that I really, really like, but I will find it. I will find it. So, how do people find you, Hlulani? Oh, before we go into that, I'm really interested. What happened for you after the income challenge? I've tried several times to do that income challenge 2020. I just get stuck at some point and have to go into other deeper work at like day 4 or day 5. I'm just like, I am unraveled. I can't do this. Like, I need to go do other things to be able to come back to process what I've done. So I've never been able to do the full income challenge in its entirety.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I think I was also well, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if it's quitting, but yeah, around about day 4 and 5, you are like, I am enough. I'm going to move away. All right. So nothing much really happened. I think I just felt better. But then when I did it, I was trying to get this other property that I ended up not getting because the banks were saying that area is highly saturated and it's not a good area and whatever and whatever. So as much as I want to do things and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, I very much seek guidance. I'm like, okay, if this must happen, things must happen 1, 2, 3, right? So when that deal fell through, I'm like, okay, it wasn't meant to happen, because when the place really looked great, but then when all the banks said the area is highly saturated and whatever, it means maybe later I will have problem with renting it out and whatnot. So basically I didn't have to go through that because in the OTP I said subject to the bank's approval. So if the bank doesn't approve, then it means that they'll fall through. So it fell through. So I was like, okay, it means it wasn't meant to happen. And then for now, I've just paused. I'm still thinking what I want to do, but I just felt like, okay, whatever decision that is happening is meant to happen.
I understand. Thank you so much for sharing that. And how do people get hold of you, Hlulani?
Get hold of me as and when do they find me?
Yes, if they want to ask more questions about your journey, want to find out more about your career coaching, how do they get hold of you?
Okay, so for the career stuff, I'm finding LinkedIn easier. I'm struggling with Facebook. Don't ask me why. On LinkedIn, it's Hlulani Rikhotso. So yeah, I'm just been writing posts, and then I'm also on Facebook as Hlulani Rikhotso on my personal page, and then I am selling honey stuff, the bags and perfumes for honey fashion accessories and shoes. So that's health, beauty, and poetry, which I shall write poetry sometime. I haven't written poetry in a long time. And then I did start a page for career development with London Rikhotso, but I haven't posted there often. So far, what you'll find there, it was a bit of guidance to high school students about how to choose their subjects and stuff like that. So I haven't done much of that, but yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. So guys, all Hlulani's LinkedIn URLs, her LinkedIn URL will be on here. So you guys can find it in the description, okay? So reach out, find out more about her career guidance. And also, if you want to learn from her about what her journey has been like in the Money Magic course, I know that people usually love to reach out to people on this podcast to say, hey, like, is this really what it's cracked up to be? Or did you just come on the podcast and say these things, right? So feel free to reach out to her. And I just want to say thank you, Hlulani, for coming and sharing so openly. It is so deeply appreciated.
Thank you for having me. I'm really scared of doing this type of things, but this year, I think this is probably one of the things that I'm winning at this year. This year, I said, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. I went to speak to students at TUT, and then I might speak to high school learners somewhere in the month of August. So I'm just like, okay, let's just do this thing.
I love it. Allow yourself to be visible. So the vow of visibility worksheet and meditation and journal prompts, all under lesson 19 of the Money Magic course. It's really, really going to make a difference. I will be joining in that as well. It's time for me to go back to that after the God wound. Oh, yeah, thank you. And thank you so much, Money Magicians, for joining in and tuning in today. This was such a treat. I love talking to Money Magic students. If you guys love this podcast, you loved hearing about it, you loved hearing about ancestral trauma, understanding more about what it is to how working on your money trauma can change things, even when you're retrenched, that there are tools out there that can completely change your financial situation, not just get you back to where you were, but get you beyond where you were. So definitely please share this with someone that you think needs it. Share it with your family and friends. If you're listening on YouTube, also please leave us a comment. It helps. Leave a comment underneath the videos. It helps us get guests. It helps the channel grow. And also leave us a review on iTunes. Leave us a review on Spotify. Share the podcast. You have been listening to this and you're listening to Hlulani's journey about the Money Magic course. I really, really want to invite you guys to the Money Magic course. As you've heard, it is completely different to my live videos. The Money Magic course is experiential, right? You're in the course to experience, to really understand your ancestral money trauma, to connect with your ancestors, to go deeper within your nervous system, to really, really meet yourself, so to speak, as Nolita said in one of the Money Magic podcast episodes. So if you want to be part of this course, definitely look at the link in the description below to the Money Magic course. You can sign up directly for the Money Magic course, or you can reach out to me, either send me a DM or email me, or go on the Wealthy Money website, wealthy-money.com, go to contact us, send me a message, and I will happily do a discovery call with you. When you sign up for the Money Magic course, you also get a coaching session with me where we talk about where you can start in the course. The course is not meant to be done in a linear fashion. You have a coaching session with me. I guide you on some of the meditations. We do certain things. And I also work with you to go deeper in the course and to put together a schedule of how you're going to do the work in the Money Magic course. So that makes it so much easier to do the course. But you also get 1 month where you have access to Numisa, who works with you on womb work and the bank account challenge, and does coaching with you, 2 coaching sessions in a month on the womb, doing womb work and the bank account challenge. And then you have access to her for a whole month on WhatsApp, asking questions about the course. And I think that just makes a beautiful, beautiful difference. And you also get fireside chats where it's literally access to coaching with me twice a month, on the second Monday of the month and on the last Monday of the month on Zoom. I host fireside chats where Money Magic students can come on the course and ask me any questions, ask to be guided in any meditations, ask to do EFT tapping with me, or just have a discussion. Sometimes they just come on to just have a chat, to laugh, to share where they are on the journey. So we do meditations on there. Basically, think of it as a coaching session. This is all to help you continue on your journey, on your healing journey around ancestral money trauma, and to continue doing the course. So there's a lot of support, right? So thank you so much, guys, for joining us on the Money Magic podcast. Thank you for showing up. Thank you, Hlulani, also for being part of this podcast today. And I really do hope you will circulate this podcast. Thank you. Have a fantastic day further.